at the brood and say, look, just please survive. Like, don't feed the brood, and we'll pick you back up as the game gets going. She's definitely, I mean, that's why she's still top in the pick ban, at least last time I checked, for this patch as well, simply because she can do anything. You know, you throw her in the off lane, throw her in the mid, throw her in the safe lane if you get a decent guy in the mid lane too. So I really like that up against the brood. Probably one of the better heroes to at least deal.
Yeah, most definitely. We also do have, I mean, yeah, it's I feel like to a certain extent you can think about being able to shut down the brood, but also just being able to not die is pretty relevant. And with the dazzle already taken, your hero pool for not dying becomes less and less. So I think the co-op area and the safe lane can definitely deal. And if they want to make sure that she potentially comes on a little bit earlier, then you throw her in that off lane and give her maybe a better matchup. We'll see though. The TA is also going to be banned out, so trying to take away these mid heroes that can really tear apart your Shadow Fiend here. I mean, the Queen of paiN and the TA matchup, I think, aren't necessarily terrible for Shadow Fiend, but it's not as good as some of the other ones. This also leave the Wind Ranger in the pool as well. So wanting to get Smash off to a good start, and they also pick up the Lich here, a hero that can go in the off lane or just generally mess up the equilibrium of any lane he's in.
Yeah, it kind of makes your off lane a little bit more open. Trying, you know, if it was like the Lich Doom makes him pretty strong up in the off lane. If they wanted to do something like Lich Tusk is still open, pretty decent. With the Wind Ranger now, that's kind of an interesting matchup. Probably, I mean, we assume it's going to be the Shadow Fiend in the mid lane, so kind of one of those more standard ones. Maybe try and bully out the Shadow Fiend early on, take him down on those first couple of waves, and really try and take control.
Yeah, I think that definitely we could end up seeing that, and it's two heroes that really want to push on out the creep wave immediately. The power shot obviously being able to do that for the Wind Ranger, and you know, I always think that for Wind Ranger, the thing that you want to think about is being able to push out the wave with the power shot, and then afterwards, as soon as if it's a ganking hero, you leave the lane, you're able to just go on up onto high ground and focus fire down the tower, usually get it down to half HP or more, depending upon how long that mid laner has gone. With the Shadow Fiend moving into the jungle to take stacks, there's definitely that opportunity. So I think that potentially out of EWolves, what you might see is another hero picked up now that can push out the creep wave as the Shadow Fiend goes to take the stacks. Maybe it could really be anything at this point in time, but certainly need to be careful about getting that tower gone quickly. And Tidehunter.
Wow.
Right.
I mean, he's often cited, you know, like they banned the Axe and they banned the Darkseer, so really in terms of the classic Brood dealers, it'll be the Tidehunter. So he'll be going up against the Brood in lane, at least that's what they're going to be hoping for. Points into the Kraken Shell, of course, making it so the spiders can't harass you down that much. And then I was actually going to think of a support hero that you would want to bring into the mid lane around the 5 or 6, 7 minute mark, because while Shadow Fiend's doing stacks, you want someone in the mid lane who's like soaking up if some of the waves are going to reach. Like we see it with an Earthshaker all the time, is a way for him to catch up after babysitting the SF. But that also could end up being a little bit of recovery, possibly for the Tidehunter if he ends up having a rough time against the Brood. I don't know. I wonder if he'll go for like the spiderless Brood. We've seen that a couple of times, like against Axes. I'm not sure how. I believe it's going to be Tavo. I don't think he's ever played a Brood. I've never seen a Tavo Brood. I've seen a lot of his other offlane heroes, but I guess we'll see.
Yeah, definitely. I haven't really seen him play that hero either, but it is one of those heroes that if you're capable of making it happen, it really can be devastating. I like what you said there as well about the spiderlingless Brood. I think that can really work depending upon the lineup, and I saw it against a Legion commander a while ago, where you basically, obviously didn't take any spiders, but once Broodmother hit level 6, what ended up coming about was that you were able to almost solo the Legion in lane. You had multiple points in incapacity and bite, which meant that you get the mischance applied as well as the slow. 60 bonus damage from Insatiable Hunger. Very, very impressive. And while Tidehunter is one of the more tanky heroes in this game because of that Kraken Shell, it still could pose a problem if Broodmother just goes for that massive right-click build. And also here, interestingly enough, the Rubik is going to be picked up to counter out the Tidehunter a little bit, wanting to sit there and steal the Ravage if at all possible, along with the Viper ban. Man,
we're going back in time here. We got Rubik versus Tidehunter. We just need like an Enigma to come out as well. The other thing about that spiderless build, it does also open up Roche, and with the Dazzle, like they might have an earlier medallion. And speaking of Roche, Slardar is actually still in the pool, but I guess at this rate, paiN could opt to run him as like a safe lane. I still think the hero is just so strong right now. that would be pretty acceptable with a Brood and a Wind Ranger who already hit pretty hard. It'd be a nice way to get some good lockdown.
Yeah, definitely could be. My mind is slightly blown here. Sorry.
Yeah, there's a Chen.
Pick up a Chen. Really interesting.
Now I want an Ember.
So yeah, definitely. So for the Chen pickup, like a hero that obviously wants to be able to push early, wants to be able to pick up a couple of those key creeps, maybe goes instead for the stacking route and taking a lot of those. But I guess that if you're going for a Tidehunter there to be able to go up against the Brood Mother, maybe you're thinking that the Brood isn't going to go for spiders, so you're less worried about being able to get your jungle taken over as quickly. I still think this is a very risky play by EWolves.
Yeah, it's I don't know. It's pretty interesting. Like, Lich, definitely one of the best heroes in terms of solo supporting a lane. Like, you're not going to do some sort of like a tri-lane to be like really safe with your carry. He can hold the wave back. He can do some nice harass. He's got infinite mana. Pretty nice. So it does open up some space for the Chen, but Wind Ranger, she can rotate fairly early. SF goes off the map. Maybe she gets an early tower and she's on the prowl. You're going to get shackled to your creeps. I don't know. We don't see Chen that much, so I'm excited to see what they can do with them. Maybe some early tower pushing, trying to counter out some of that Brood pressure.
This kind of cause a problem though, and I think you mentioned it, the shackle coming out from the Wind Ranger as well. All of these things sort of seem to not really augment themselves perfectly well, but obviously EWolves do have a plan, a very competent team, and they have something that we probably haven't thought about at this point in time. Also, it does mean that their sort of ability to sustain is significantly higher when you end up getting that Hand of God up, and a lot of teamfight ultis here. You got Requiem of Souls, you've got the Sonic Wave, you've got Lich's Chain Frost, Ravage of course, and then Hand of God to keep you. Beck is going to be the last hero picked on up. Certainly going to be hoping to, I just don't know. The Brood's going to be able to make enough space, but now if you've got the Chen trying to push down towers, it does apply a little bit more pressure. So a very wonky draft. I'm curious to see what the result's going to be.
Yeah, I like, Wind Ranger, she has a pretty strong mid game, assuming she has like any sort of a decent time in the mid, and it is kind of a risky pick because you are up against a Chen and even a Shadow Fiend. Like, if you can get that early mech, they all group up. You got the threat of the Ravage, so it's hard to walk into them and like stop them from doing anything in your towers. But the Spectre is kind of like that. I don't know. It's almost like a fail safe. Like, as long as can make it this far, like it solidifies their end game much better than I would say the Radiant side. But I guess it's time for us to find out.
Yeah, absolutely. We'll do a quick little introduction. I'll take the EWolves side. Van is going to be playing that Tidehunter down in the bot lane. We do also have Masoku is going to be playing the Chen. Shadow Fiend going off to the mid lane is going to be Smash. Off to the side, M God going to be playing the Lich, and last but not least, Bayek is going to be on that Queen of paiN.
And speaking of our Queen of paiN, looks like, let's see, 40R will spot him out there. So 40R going to be on that Wind Ranger, spotting out the little bit of action. Oh, but she still has a ward, so they might not suspect it since she was still holding the Observer, actually. But anyway, ACC going to be on the Rubik. Cat, I guess, is going to be on the Dazzle. Tagged up as 1 week. I should have looked up all their names that they're not using. And then Tavo, of course, on the Brood Mother.
Absolutely no problem. Everybody throws around random little names in these types of games, and it's just one of those things that ends up happening. But as you mentioned, didn't end up suspecting that this ward was going to block, so the Queen of paiN is going to have vision up in the top lane while simultaneously being able to block the pull camp. Should ensure herself at least getting a couple of levels here. Well, moving down to the bot, looks like they want to try and contest this bottom rune here, and Ranger just going to run right up. Tidehunter is there. He's not really afraid, but hasn't leveled up anything, so no Kraken Shell quite yet. Does eat the tree with the Tango. The lift on up. He's going to be brought on back now. Might need to skill something. The Wind Ranger gets the bounty rune, while the Queen of paiN gets the top one, and he's taken a lot of harassment here. He might end up actually falling. First blood ends up going the way of the Spectre, and not what you want to have happen. They're also going to be able to avoid this Tidehunter as Tavo goes up to the top lane, and we're actually probably going to see him move on up here now. Yeah, he is going to rotate.
Yeah, that was pretty much the ideal scenario for paiN there. Would be try and get what one can only assume will be a relic as soon as possible, depending on how the game plays out. And yeah, we're going to have the little merry-go-rounds on the lanes here.
Certainly. It seems like that's something that has happened more and more often recently with the changes to how TP scrolls work, that you're able to rotate those lanes a little bit more effectively, and it's not as much of a problem to make that rotation, particularly for the supports. You're able to actually do it. So Smash doling out a lot of harassment to this Wind Ranger already at the start. Going to have to pop through her first salve, and Smash, not really taking a ton of damage, isn't going to have to deal with it too much yet. Tavo has just gone for the 1 point in the spin web, still saving the other one, so not wanting to create those spiders quite yet, lest they end up getting killed. And looks like Chen also has been able to pick on up one of the little Wild Wing Rippers in Tornado Time.
Yeah, he's already got that double stack going, so quickly getting up to around level 3 probably if he takes down one other camp. And in terms of this bottom lane, like rotating in there, that could go pretty well actually. Like points in the Shadow Strike as well as the slow from your Lich. I could definitely see them picking off someone like the Rubik. If they can get there relatively early while the Dazzle's still pretty low on like the Grave and the points into the heal.
Well, now as we're talking about that, though, it's always a dangerous lane when you've got these Mr. Rubik there to be able to right-click you down. Spectre also does have that 1 point in Death Slate, so the 20 pure damage going to be able to let a little bit of extra harassment. I also think, though, that you do have to sort of keep in mind that he does have the boots up as well on the Rubik. So I think that is the target that you have to go on. It's a little bit too tough to take down that Dazzle just based off of the natural healing and everything else that goes on. But hopefully they're able to find those kills for their sakes now, as paiN continuing to just try and sustain in here against the constant pressure as they push on out the wave.
Shadow Wave!
And we do have spiders. It's not, she's not going to be a load up there. She has not, thrown away her poor babies. But the other thing you can do is you can just send to the jungle. And they did block off the small camp. I'm not sure if that was probably because they were suspecting it was going to be a tri-lane up here. But Tavo can still send those spiders in once they're a couple levels higher and farm that same time. We have a little bit of harass down at the bottom lane. That is one long tornado.
Yeah, that's ridiculous. They are going to be able to just keep on taking a little bit of harassment from that one. It's just great. Like it's a spell that really helps out in terms of your ability to sustain a little bit of harassment when you wouldn't otherwise be able to get it. It does mean you're not going to be able to use it for CSing as much, but it's like with the smoke up, they want to try and actually take a kill here, or at least make some type of initiation.
Oh, this is
Queen of
perfect.
paiN gets brought back. Scream onto 3. Are they going to be able to get anything here? There is the Hellbear Smasher. Claps one time, and the right click takes down the Rubik. Meanwhile, the Queen of paiN dropping low, but not low enough. They do take out the Spectre as well, so a double kill for EWolves in this bottom lane.
Yeah, and that's like perfect Chen play. It's exactly what you want to do. The early stack, level 3, go gank a lane. And it just works out so well. Extremely nice bait in there from the Queen of paiN. Bring him down nice and deep in the tower, and then that backstab. And looks like the top lane. The Spectre's had enough. Can come up here, get her own farm. You can tell the Broodmother to shove off.
Yeah, absolutely. She really does need to make sure that she gets it. But level 2 up against the level 5 Tidehunter, no points in Gush, but still, that Anchor Smash is just devastating. Every single right click against this melee carry here. And you do have a salve on up, but you don't want to have to use that. Like, as soon as he gets level 6, there's a chance that he gets... I mean, he's going to have mana boots back up. Oh, he had to use the mango right there to try and go for another Anchor Smash, but wasn't able to hit it.
At least he'll have his arcanes up and probably spam out this Spectre, but the sports are coming, so.
A little bit safer with those guys coming on in. Dazzle also has his boots, not quite brought out to him on the courier quite yet. But as you mentioned, spam time. Sir Spam a lot. There's the rotation on in. The Queen of paiN is here to be able to deal a little bit of damage, but the Rubik is now actually going to be able to fall. I do believe one more right click along with the Anchor Smash is going to kill him as he tries to TP away. So the early aggression coming out from EWolves, and now the Tidehunter is going to end up rotating down to the bottom lane, just playing catch up right now with Tavo, who's getting marked everywhere that he goes.
Is this Dota now? Is this is this what the TP scrolls have done? This little buff to how cheap they are. It's 2 last hits now, I guess. Is that worth getting the perfect lane? I assume so. They'll secure you more last hits in the end.
I think so. Like, if you're going to be able to on applying this pressure to the Spectre right now, you take a look at net worth. She's 4th, so not terrible, but considering how much the Tidehunter's been able to get, as is the Chen, they haven't contested this jungle at all. This is a free farming Chen, level 4, and is going to be able to hit level 5 pretty soon, which means another creep going to be back up. So they're going to be able to start to push. They've got the auras that they need already, the extra little toughness aura coming out from the Wild Wing Ripper, and I can imagine that once you end up getting this mech up on Shadow Fiend, which is what I'm assuming we're going to be seen, they're going to be grouping up to take down some towers.
Yeah, it definitely looks that way. Like, just go Aquila mech and group up and let's go, everybody. It'll be a real party. And what sort of a deep push will they have available? They're going to have the power shot and pretty much just Brood doing their thing in the other lane, I suppose. They'll just go wherever the rest of the team is. That means they're going to have to fight 4v5 into a really scary lineup. Especially with Lich, like he's going to get those nice and early experience points from the sacrifices. They're actually going to go up there on their Spectre player. But Dazzle's nearby, so should be okay.
Yeah, should be fine. They might actually even be able to turn this one back around with... Well, no, I don't think they have enough damage. Even with Rubik here, it's a little bit too much to ask. Also worth noting, the Fade Bolt, pretty great for able to D-push as well and spam that out on top of your... on top of the Chen creeps just everywhere else, but doesn't feel like Rubik is quite getting the levels to make the most of that yet. We'll see if that's going to end up changing, but so far not really a huge factor. Obviously only at that level 3. Should be able to maybe rotate over into the mid lane if this Wind Ranger does want to start to gank a little bit. I think that he would be a pretty good hero to get that level priority on, just because of the effectiveness of all of these team fight ultis as well as the Fade Bolt. He does seem like he's one of the better heroes at this point in time to deal with the lineup the ELiteWolves have.
Yeah, it's true, and especially if he can just get that nice early experience, and he needs the steal, and might be able to save them from like a horrific incident with a Ravage when definitely. The push comes.
That does, I mean, those spells, the Sonic Wave, the Requiem coming out as well, Ravage all on top of it, the fact that you're going to have not only, as I'm talking about this, Rubik actually is going to fall a little bit low. Dazzle's still in the area, doesn't necessarily want to have to throw out Grave if it's not necessary. He is going to be Graved in the end. There's the lift up just to keep a little bit of aggression off, but Rubik looks to be okay, I think. I don't think this tick kills him. Yeah, he's fine. But like I was mentioning there, if you do end up having both the mech as well as the Chen heal, it's just a massive amount of sustain that you've gotten lane. And actually, now that I'm thinking about it, considering how much farm Chen has gotten, maybe we see him pick up the mechanism instead and have Smash go for just more damage items.
Yeah, definitely possible. I think they would probably be deciding depending on the actual amount of farm. It looks like he's going to pick up the buckler now, yeah. So, but yeah, you're right. It definitely could have went that way. Kind of like when you have like Darkseer SF, you'll often see the same idea, even if you're going pushing strats. So, maybe I don't know. It's not really a pipe game either. I'm not sure what the channel go for. Maybe just a Vlad's or something. Help everybody out.
Straight Aghanims, man. It's actually pretty
I know,
good.
it actually is like a completely legitimate option at this point.
Yeah, I think that it would be pretty good, especially just because of the cooldown that you get on the Hand of God and being able to make sure that that's up for each one of these engagements, because they're not going to have all of their spells up all the time. Queen of Pain is going to be on that relatively long cooldown, 135 seconds. Ravage as well, obviously, the 150 seconds at all levels. But if you're able to maybe get up the Aghanim Scepter on the Queen of Pain and the Chen, you're going to be in a really good spot. And also Tidehunter now getting his Blink Dagger. It just feels like right now ELiteWolves have all of the means that they need to really press the advantage that they've been able to build so far. You take a look at team net worth right now, shooting up towards 4K. EXP as well, sitting at the same mark, and that's only with 3 kills.
Yeah, this is like a complete disaster now that he has that early Blink Dagger. When you look up all like the records and stuff for all these heroes like Axe or Tidehunter, every single time there's a Brood on the other team. But this is crazy. I mean, 73 CS, it's not even 10 minutes yet. He's got Arcane's Blink. He's basically got a magic, actually he does. He's got a magic wand done now too. Like, I don't know, these outer towers are going to be dropping like flies momentarily.
Yeah, definitely. We do have the Dazzle and the Spectre just trying to sort of do whatever they can to remain relevant. The early earn out of the Spec, I'll hold that thought as we do end up getting another initiation on top of the Dazzle. Maybe one more right click could be enough. He is going to TP away, and the Grave isn't going to break out. Meanwhile, Wind Ranger ends up getting the pin down on top, but there's the Chen heal coming out, and all of a sudden Wind Ranger ends up cutting out as well. She is going to fall, I do believe, with one last scream from the Queen of Pain, and this isn't even a 5-man push right now. This is a 2-person push, and they are making it work.
The Lich even gets sent home. Like, that's just, what a hero. Send him on home, Chen. Look, tomorrow, first pick, first ban. Chen's back, guys. Congratulations.
Well, the thing I find so interesting about it too is that I felt like Enchantress was really the hero that was coming into. Oh my God, this might end up being another dead Spectre here. Jump forward.
There is the haunt
now. To get the kill?
Maybe the escape.
Oh. No, she actually ends up burning through her mana to use the dagger. So that's fine, though. Being able to escape without using the haunt is probably pretty important. But what I was mentioning is that I feel like for the Enchantress, if you do have this hero that is able to scale really well into the late game, it's really a mixture of styles, which way you want to play it. If you want to be more aggressive and have a bit more... You want to be aggressive early, but simultaneously have the ability to scale well into the late game. I think it's Enchantress. And this right here instead is saying, you know what, we just want to really take it to you instead and beat down your face with the Tidehunter and everybody else in there.
Yeah, pretty much. And so far, so good. You see Tavo, he's in here. He's completely cutting the creep, just letting his spiders soak up the tower. Some pretty crafty plays, and this is what he's going to have to do in order to keep them in this. And you can already see the rest of the squad. They're already up here in the top lane, ready to take down their first tier 2 of the match.
Dire's top tower.
Yeah, lots of creeps over in the area. I'm going to jump forward and just toss out another little dagger on top of the Spectre, and over again we're just seeing this. You can't fight into this right now. You've got all of your ultis up. You got the Blink Dagger up on the Tidehunter. He actually isn't even with them, honestly, so... Rubik is going to find him as well as the Broodmother. I don't think that they can kill Van, though. He's just too tanky. The Tidehunter's making it work. And I think that they can even come on back here and contest this tower here.
Yeah, it's just... Look, the shackle doesn't even last till the trees are cut down. That's just... Nothing's going right here.
Yeah. It looked like it's sort of... I don't think that he would have been able to maybe get that kill, even if the shackle did latch, but you want to be able to get a little something. So... Going to be able to dodge the stomp coming out from the Centaur as well. Always good to see that with some Broodmothers, but normally what you see, they're being able to opponent's jungle, and instead now we're seeing the Chen take over the other jungle, and oh my god, Dazzle just got solo killed. Rubik is going to be able to pick up a kill on the Queen of Pain, but up top, oh my god, these creeps are too strong.
Yeah, in the mid it was just it was Shackle into the lift with the Rubik, so he'll get a nice chunk of experience and close up to the 6. Actually has his arcanes now if he wants to grab them. But the train rolls on. Smash, mech ready and available.
Yeah, they're very comfortable right now. As you mentioned, the arcanes, and still not level 6 up on Rubik. When he does get that, it's going to be really helpful in terms of their ability to fight, but it's going to come down to some great play by him. If he's not able to make those key spell steals, and if the Brood isn't really able... I mean, it's 13 minutes into this game, and the tower's still up also in the bottom lane. The spiders might be rectifying that right now.
You just cast or curse that tower.
Does look like the Dazzle might be dropping low. We do have a Ravage up in a second if they want to use it. The Shackle is still pretty good. Chain Frost going to be able to deal a little bit more damage there, and it, I believe, did interrupt that TP as well from the Dazzle. So unfortunate, but another kill going the way of EWolves, and Chen is just making it work.
Yeah, and Tavo still, he did get the tower. He's back here. He's got his Midas. I don't know if... Like, is Necro the build to deal with this? Do you have to go back for something like the Orchid, or do you just give up on in terms of fighting in this situation? Like, are you just going to try and draw them back with as much push as you possibly can? So far, that's his plan. I'll be interested to see if he itemizes towards it, too. And it is the mech first, and it's almost done.
Oh, my goodness.
Rather, sorry, the Aghanims. I just said mech, but...
Yeah, he's gotten all the gold in the world that he's wanted, so it makes a ton of sense. Like, if you want to be going for this early aggression, you can also get all of the ancients that have been improved as well. Rubik now taking a little bit more harassment. Shackle does end up latching, but there's the Ravage used. Does end up hitting on the Rubik. So Ravage for the Rubik. I think it's relatively worth it, especially considering now you don't really have that potential for a spell steal.
Yeah.
Don't really imagine him buying back right now, and doesn't have the mana for it anyway, or the gold for it anyways. Will in a little bit, but I think they just go back and take Roche now, maybe.
That's the even level 1, the ice armor was just so good on top of your Queen of Pain. Like, the focus fire did almost nothing. You're just kind of chilling there, taking a couple hits, and now you're like 4-staff Blink Tide. He's just so mobile. It's going to be able to get off these perfect Ravages, and I mean, as you said, the tools are there. Like, if you can get the 6 up, the Spell Steal, you've got Requiem, you got Ravage, you got Hand of God. All he needs is a constant supply of mana, and, well, I guess 20 seconds in between every one, so maybe the tools aren't quite there.
Yeah, we'll see how it goes. It's definitely going to be a little bit difficult, but We do have the smoke up. It's pretty obvious what it is that they're going for at this point, so that could be the one little downfall of their combo, and they're not taking Roche particularly fast. All right, Chen is a little bit separated from the herd now. We do have another catch forward. That's a nice little fissure, or excuse me, a gush coming out. More damage on top of the Wind Ranger and trying to run away. They were able to steal a Test of Faith, but this is going to be a dead Wind Ranger a second. Chain Frost is connecting onto the Rubik. Oh, nice grave, keeping him alive, but Queen of Pain kills the Davizil after the grave was used, and Chen kills the Wind Ranger. It's just all falling apart right now. It feels like EWolves just have paiN's number.
Yeah, we're closing in 16 minutes. We're almost up to 10k advantage in terms of total net worth.
Top tower is under attack.
And I don't know, there's just, like, you have the Spectre, but she's just, she's a Spectre. She's pretty poor. You need a really solid and stable lane and able to, get up to a relatively early Radiance. And she just has not had that opportunity at all. And with an Aghanim Scepter coming up on the Queen of Pain, this high ground is going to be a very scary thing to defend, especially with this Aegis.
Well, and the other thing now also, Chen with the Aghanim Scepter, cooldown for the Hand of God ends up going down to 30 seconds, and on top of that, you're also starting to take these Ancient Creeps, including, in a second here, probably another Ancient Black Dragon, I would imagine. Oh, mid lane, they are going to find Tavo now. He was going for this last little tower, is going to be able to finally get it, so some small piece of solace, but he does pay with it for his life, so it is going to be able to get the armor up from the Ancient Black Dragon. 2 to everybody in the area with the auras. They're starting to stack 10 to 2, but it feels like it could be 100.
Yeah, I'm thinking this. Yeah, he is gonna grab the Thunderhide. That's really good. Let's get that attack speed bonus. I mean, they got all those nice little buffs in 6.85. The ancients, they're so stacked these days.
Yeah, they're very great for being able to do it. Like, obviously, when the first change ended up coming out, I think that was in 6.82, if I'm not mistaken.
Somewhere around there.
It was a little bit underwhelming, the changes to the Aghanim Scepter, just because the Ancient Creeps weren't actually that great. But now they've been continuing to get buffed. Still want to get that Granite Golem if you can to get the bonus HP, but this is where maybe your high ground defense is going to be able to save you here. You do end up taking out one of those little creeps of the Chens, and now going to toss on out a little tornado on top of them. But how do you run on into this? Smash is sitting up here. He does have the Aegis on up. You've got Ravage up again if you need it as well. Sonic Wave. Normally, this is the point where, as a team defending high ground, you feel comfortable in your base defense because you're going to be able to have a little bit more team fight potential, but they don't have it right now. Even a Haunt, it's going to be super ineffectual. Oh god, Ravage ends up getting expended. Sonic Wave on top of 2 there, just obliterated instantly. Rubik and the Wind Ranger do end up falling, and looks like Dazzle is just going to have to look back in dismay as the rest of his team is getting torn apart here. I don't think that they stop. They're just going to go straight on up for the tier 3 top, and a really well executed draft here by EWolves.
Yeah, there's really not much more to say than that. Like, they picked their lanes, they got the lanes to work, they rotated. The Queen of Pain moved around a lot, not only just for, like, jumping the lanes, but even just early ganks, because not being in the mid lane and having relatively little pressure bottom with the Lich, like, oh, well, looks like Dazzle's gonna go down, but she only had to take 1 point in the Shadow Strike, which meant earlier levels into the Scream of Pain, and nice Chain Frost steal, though, and he gets aggressively force-stabbed. I think he might make it back to the well alive. By the way, she kind of helped them roll on, and the whole time your Chen and Shadow King were just farming up with these tank items.
Yeah, Wind Ranger does actually kill off the Lich finally. A nice little power shot there, but I think I would take a Lich for 2 barracks, or 4 barracks rather, any day of the week. Shooting up towards the 20k net worth lead. More net worth lead than minutes in the game currently, and that says about all that you need to know about this game. Just the Chen strat able to come out and be in full effect, and I think that a large reason for this was the early rotations that we saw, making sure that Tidehunter was always in that Broodmother's lane. He got himself the quick Blink Dagger, got himself the quick levels, and then when the Spectre tried to rotate up top, she wasn't even able to farm against the Tide because he was able to consistently be able to bully her out of lane with the Anchor Smash. So all in all, it's just hasn't felt like paiN's been able to accomplish what they've wanted to accomplish with this Brood pick, and just sort of the whole team synergy a little bit, not necessarily coming down to one player, but I think that the draft was really good out of EWolves.
Yeah, and especially because if you look at these drafts, like, just on paper, you definitely have to say, like, okay, well, the Darius draft is way more meta. Like, these heroes all get picked regularly and competitive, whereas, you've only got, like, 3 of the 5 on the Radiant, this Chen and the Tidehunter, and it's good to see teams taking these heroes that are underpicked and underused and kind of, just slamming down a game with them. Like, this was just domination at the hands of a Chen and a Tidehunter. Like, they probably carried the majority of the weight in this one, and he's actually almost got a refresher. Does he even have the mana for this? Jeez. Oh yeah, he does too. Oh man, this will be good.
Yeah, that's devastating. They're exactly where they want to be. I mean, the Force Staff there as well as the Arcane Boots. He can just arcane up between it, and that's he's only had to use 2 Ravages this whole game. So the other thing to keep in mind here, and this is something that I think is worth noting, you do have this situation where 6.85 is a month old today. While we have seen a lot of the meta expand and it's been involving a lot of things, there have been new movements across all of the metas. I was casting Chinese Dota last night, and we saw a mixture of an offlane Morphlane with an Alchemist. We do end up getting a kill down their bot. They end up picking off the Queen of Pain, and the offlane Morphlane with the Alchemist was able to just completely tear apart the enemy team. It was Vici Gaming against CDEC, and it was something new that I hadn't seen before. It's really cool to see teams experimenting and actually finding stuff that works. As the Queen of Pain buys back, maybe going to be able to make something happen here. We do have another Ravage. Haunt falls as well. Chainfrost still stolen. That's going to be able to connect onto several, but a lot of these are ancient creeps and so many around that it's going to be somewhat ineffectual. Still, the Hand of God, the mechanism, everybody's back to full HP. There is the Ravage, as well as a second one soon to follow. Where's your man of the Arcane Boots? He ends up getting it. Nicely done there. That's going to kill off the Wind Ranger, as well as the Dazzle by the Lich, and Brood getting the chase down as well. GG, well played, ends up getting called by paiN Gaming as EWolves just roll over them.
Yeah, that one, they just, got it going, didn't let up, and it's funny you mentioned about the Alch and the Morphling, because it wasn't, we had 6.4 came out in late April, and then it wasn't until July that Leshrac was first pick, first ban, and then there were a couple minor tweaks in the patch with like Glimmer Cape and stuff, but those were all done by like the 20th of May, so... we could be seeing these next big heroes. You never know; they can just pop up in a game, and teams will say, "Oh, that went really well." Like, what could we have stopped that? So, I don't know. I guess we'll see what they do next game.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, looking forward to it. We'll be back in just a second. Once again, you're watching the Summit 4 qualifiers in the North American region, lower bracket elimination matchup. See you all in a few.